Howdy, kumquats. Welcome to Artists in the Wild. Giving you a little update. We are in the zone here. It is like countdown to showtime. So I do have I'm working on an edited video, but really I have to back burner everything right now because it's just full-time show for me. There's a lot to do. And things are changing all the time. How are you guys holding up? It's super unusual. I'll say that. Things feel very unusual. And yeah, just that feeling of getting traction and yeah, how do I say it? It's like things don't work the old way, and I'm not like the old person either. So it's like there's like a little bit of a disconnect. You know, it's like when I start to do things like in the old way, hustle, 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 grind, 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 like rah, be all in my mind about it and like think and make a plan and like da 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 da. Like that all feels totally wrong, and it has not been like yielding the results either. So I'm like, right, like this is what I've been doing, you know, like I just want to remind you guys, like I've lived outside the system like most of my life to exist as an artist. I've really had to. So leaving, you know, what I call the overculture or the matrix or whatever you want to call it, like the controller's world, you know, I mean, I had one foot in, one foot out, like, you know, the whole time, because they already were not trying to allow artists to succeed. They know how important our creativity is. It's like, that's what we're here to do, is create. And so, you know, it's like I'm finding out all these things. And like I said, like that one kind of revelation about the Beatles and all the music being completely controlled, and just the social engineering that goes into like everything that we see, experience, purchase, engage with. And it's like the more you get off of it, it's like you get more of your innate connection back. Like, so I've gotten even more intuition, even more of all this stuff, but it's in this weird place where it's like hard to there's no familiar way to go about it. It's just new. And it's new for me, even though I've been outside of it, pulling out of it, working on getting these intuitive muscles back, working on, you know, following my heart and staying out of my head. And I've done all these things for a very long time, and it's still like there's so many layers to it, and more people, you know, revealing more all the time. I mean, yesterday I had kind of a hard blow yesterday, realizing that, you know, even a system like yoga was designed, you know, most of what we have, I feel like, is designed as like a trauma response, which I even heard a chick yesterday say that, you know, overachieving is a trauma response. And like, just my tendency to like do that, to like make, do, like all that stuff. I'm like, oh God, really? That sort of, I resemble that remark. I don't look like what I've been through, you guys. I mean, I had a, you know, complicated childhood, and, you know, and I didn't choose an easy path being an artist. And I've been out here, you know, staying true to it. Like that was all I felt like I had to do, was just stay true to myself, and that it would all be okay. And that is true. However, we are in this very strange time where the energy, it's like I'll have pops of it where I'm like, oh my God, the old magic is back. And I can stay in a really enjoyable like flow of ease, and everything's kind of going like that. And then, you know, you get kind of like a little wrinkle, and then you're in your head again, and then it's like off. And you know, they are trying to frighten us and rattle our cages and make everything difficult and genuinely like tank the economy. And sure, they're doing all that, and they're going to keep trying to do that. And the most important thing is to just not react. You know, it's like they're just total bullies. So it's like you can't, they want that, and it's such a conditioned thing for us. So it's like, you know, it's like to stay really centered so that I can receive creativity. And so this process, you know, which I did document for you guys, I have been videotaping it. Being an artist is just a service job, you know, in my opinion. It's like I comb the depths to bring things back, to share, and to be different, to be uniquely myself, and to express how I see things in small little ways, tell little stories. I mean, this is like what I do. And I have a huge body of work that's all in storage. So I'm cut off from my lifetime of creativity and ideas. I have limited, you know, resources right now. I don't have access to all my backlog of, I think, very brilliant ideas, costumes, props, stories that I like telling, you know, anytime I gather an audience together, and those aren't here. And, you know, so I've had to be like, it's okay. I can make a show out of anything. So what wants to be said? What do I need to say right now? Parallel to that, you know, I thought this was going to be a 2-person show. I had originally planned the show around a friend of mine traveling here from Vancouver, a performer, and I was really excited. I haven't seen her in many years because of the pandemic. And, you know, she ended up having to back out because she wasn't comfortable going back to Canada with all the crap going on at the border or whatever. And I was just like, okay, you know, like I really try not to make fear-based decisions, but she had some health things that she was worried about and all the things. And so that changed everything. So then I shifted gears to just trying to find a backing band, which is usually how I like to work, but it takes many months usually of like preparation to do that. And because I do want a new band, like that's normally how I like to roll. However, I'm like starting from a stop, and I've been gone a long time. So it's like I'm educating people about who I am, or reminding people that used to know who I am or knew me with Monkey, and now I'm solo, and they're like, well, what is that? What are you gonna do? And then they think that all I'm going to do is burlesque. And they're like, kind of roll their eyes, and they look at me as like a 50-year-old woman, and they're like, really? You know, like, and I'm just like, it's not, and it never was about me trying to be like, I mean, being sexy and beautiful or whatever, all that stuff was like the icing. I mean, it never, that's not the point, you guys. Like, that is not the message. The message, you know, I make the medicine very sweet. So, and I always and I've tried to, but very honest and potent too. So what I say with embodiment, which is what performing is, it's like I'm being it. That's what's going on. I'm not hiding behind stuff. It's like, it's coming from my imagination. And maybe it doesn't feel cohesive, you know? It's like, I like to, of course, I like a beginning, a middle, and an end. I like a 2-act show with an intermission, you know? I like it to be like, pack a punch and go somewhere. You know, so I don't really just want to like improvise a whole thing. However, I can't overplan a thing either, because that doesn't work. So it's like I always try to get enough of it up on its feet so that it has room to improvise when I get to the stage. But you know, it's just me, and I'm a very visual person. Like most of my art is visual. So it's like the making of stuff and the creation of a world around me embodying it. So it's like, there's a lot of parts of this to express for me that I really want to express, that want to come out. But you know, one of the reasons I say being an artist is a service job is because there was a time in the burlesque, the neo-burlesque revival back in the aughts and the early 10s or whatever. And, you know, it really took this turn where when we got into it in the beginning, like early 2000s, it was kind of like a punk rock feminist, even though I don't identify as a feminist move like at all anymore. But back then it was like a punk rock feminist movement. Like we were there to reclaim our sexuality, to be very brazen with it, and to have a good laugh about it, and to kind of like flaunt these things in the face of conservatism or prudishness or everything, or any kind of control. It was just all about like self-expression and wildness, and letting sexuality be really wild for women, letting it be something different, not squeezed into like some sort of like conformist trap, which it became more of a beauty pageant with like all the crazy, I mean, you guys, what's going on with the makeup and the drag makeup and everything, it's off the rails. I mean, it's full-blown clown, you know? So it's like, I'm like, this stuff, it just went like in a direction that like I didn't. And I'm still doing it my way, you know? So it's just very confronting to have to create with so little. Again, it's like, you know, I did this like in my studio, and I was always like, well, I can make something out of nothing. So I'm doing that. So I didn't find musician. Everyone's so busy right now. You know, spring is insane. Everyone's like, and also just the yard work alone will keep you busy. Spring cleaning, getting things ready, all the stuff. And so it's now a full like one woman show, which I literally never wanted to do. I just didn't, because I like costume changes. I like, you know, having time in between. I like a little breath. I like the sort of variety show format, but more, you know, I call sometimes what I do like a cabaret theater, where it's like kind of little vignettes that sort of string together, you know, and so but this is kind of like a one woman variety show where it's like a little bit, it's the plate spinning act again. It's like there's some songs, there's some dancing, there's some puppets, there's some this, and I'm like working through all these talents and skills that I have, combing them for the story that wants to come out. And you know, along the way, it's like it's a, I was gonna say brutal, but it's not, I don't want to use those words, because being in relationship with my creativity is a gift. It's not a battle. I'm not battling with myself. Maybe I am a little bit, but because it brings up so much, like it's bringing up so much of, you know, insecurity, things I've been told, especially around aging and being a woman, and then trying to get back into my body in a more rigorous way than I have been in years, and finding those muscles again, and then, you know, all the zigzag path that goes along with that. And man, you know, and luckily I'm pretty good at letting the fear exist and doing it anyway. And so that's what I'm doing. So I'm really actually excited about this show. It's terrifying, it's thrilling, it's like, I'm like, okay, universe, like this is the thing I haven't wanted, but here we go. Also, like, a one woman show is very portable. That's a blessing. And then, you know, I'm very eager to see what this chapter of my career is going to be about. Like, I always thought I was building on all these ideas and all these like things that I've been in conversation with some of these things like for 25 years, you know, objects, puppets, costumes, mermaid, my puppetry stuff, you know, just these different things that are part of my standard repertoire. I mean, I always like to do both. It's both traditional and innovative. I'm both drawing on deep traditions and pushing the limits of them. And it takes time. And it takes, you know, being in that flow. I don't like waiting till the end. I like, you know, slow, steady prep. We're in Taurus season. I am going to do the Taurus video soon. I've been working on the poem for it. Because it's like the slow and steady. I'm like, okay, I'm just showing up and doing it. And then finally I have like finished up that commission, the hula hooping chicken. Goldie was very happy with that, how that turned out. But, you know, I ended up, of course, going overboard, doing like 4 whole paintings for it. Also designed another logo for somebody in there. So those projects are done. I'm really like, I've got like these, you know, it's Tuesday now. And my show is not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. So I really hope you guys are coming. I try to be very honest and vulnerable about my process, and I know that scares people because like they just want it to be they're like, you know, that's the other thing is like people just want me to be a certain way or just polished or some people do want me to just stick to burlesque and stop talking so much. And like, you know, there's just no way to make people happy, like totally. So I always try to do this for myself. If I'm entertained, I think other people will be entertained. So I try to just make the most entertaining thing that I have the ability to make. And that's the goal. So I'm in here today. I got a little bit of construction to do, building some little effects for my show. And I just wanted to check in and say hi, let you guys know that I'm here. I still care about this channel. I still hope we're growing it. And yeah, and I did just want to mention, you know, just as things keep unraveling and more people are figuring out the degree of the control that we've been living in for, you guys, this has gone on for so long, so don't act like really, like we have to put a larger lens on it because it's been going on for a very, very long time. It's not like a recent thing, it's an escalating thing, but all of that has been in place for a very long time. And so the layers of it, I mean, the Beatles one hit me hard, you guys, and it made me connect all these other things and medicine and food and military and every aspect of society, because I could see it and understand it through the music world. And then it's like you see how it plays out and you're just like, unbelievable. Wow, well, that worked. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And, you know, I was really sad last night. I was just like, you know, like it sucks. Like realizing, I'm like, they basically have enslaved us and have been siphoning our energy. And it sucks to say that. It sucks to feel that. It sucks to feel that betrayal. Like it really hit me hard last night. And I guess just because I'm feeling so vulnerable in my creativity and trying to feel for this old way of getting into it that isn't there anymore. Like that I don't even let myself do things in the old way. It's like unlearning workaholism and, you know, making sure I get to bed on time and taking care of myself really, really well. Like I spent years working on this. I mean, I used to run myself pretty ragged. So, you know, it's all like different. Everything's just different. And it's uncomfortable. I just feel so vulnerable. And on top of it, then feeling like completely betrayed by the systems that we've had to be a part of in so many ways. The thing about yoga that happened yesterday was a little bit of, you know, one of the reasons, well, I've done yoga for 25 years. I've been teaching for 20, and I love Ayurveda. I love all the herbs. I love all of it. I love the discipline, what it's given me, and that relationship with my body, my mind, and my spirit, and also just the constant reminders to breathe, come back to your breath, get out of your head. Like these are the training of yoga that's so valuable. However, I did at one point decide that I wanted to find out, you know, what the indigenous people had, like what were my Western European ancestors, like when they were indigenous and tied into their land, you know, and had all their spiritual gifts and powers on, what did that look like? So, you know, that led me to studying magic because it kind of went underground and it was just labeled witchcraft and magic, and you know, it just got lumped in with a whole lot of stuff. So I started studying that stuff intentionally as a way to understand my, you know, English, Irish, German ancestry. And even though my father's side of the family, you know, they've been here since the French and Indian War. Like that's like the 1700s, early 1700s, I think. So, you know, my family's been here a long time, but the abuse and like the, you know, on one side and like my mom's side, it was really rough. Like just the whole, it was, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I was like, these are traumatized and damaged people who lost their connection, you know? And so I started studying all that stuff, and it's so interesting because a lot of the stuff the controllers use is that a lot of the stuff that they took magically. And so it's dark magic, but not all magic is dark. So it's very complicated. It's like, on the one hand, I can say that, yeah, blue blood elites are controlling things with what seems to be Luciferian black magic. But, you know, then I'm like, but not all magic is bad. And we have our own magic. And I've been really wrestling with that because yoga to me was a system of magic also, because it changes the world around you. You change the inside, it changes the outside. And so, but, you know, it was like mystics, men, all male mystics living on a mountaintop, you know, going to extremes. And I always believe that yoga is such a powerful system. Like it comes down to like 8 limbs of yoga, which are things, you know, like truth, cleanliness, spiritual study. Like, you know, these are like things. The limbs are like asana, pranayama, you know, stuff like that. Meditation, concentration, like those are the limbs. You could take one limb, which is what we've seen, asana, movement. These are the physical practices. And it'll still like bring you closer to enlightenment. It's such a powerful system. Like you can't unbake the cake, as Greg Carlwood said recently. It's like baked in. It's working you towards enlightenment, and you can take one of the 8 limbs and only do that one, and it'll still do that. I mean, I kind of left a comment on this chick's page on YouTube recently because she was like a stretchy, bendy girl. I was sort of like, somehow came across my feed, and then she had this big post about how she doesn't even like the spiritual part of yoga. She doesn't care. She just uses the exercises and that's it, and it's completely devoid of all that other stuff for her. Not devoid, void of all that other stuff. And I was like, well, you can't really do that because it's baked in. Like if you're breathing and moving your body in those ways, like that's yoga, and it's like, even if it's a crappy, watered down thread of it, it's still it. So can't unbake the cake. And to that point, I'm like, right, like the whole system was not designed with any women in mind, which I always knew because I always found Ashtanga to be kind of a punishing practice designed by men. And I just, you know, feel different in my body and want to move differently. And like, I'm really exploring all that. And I'm not like mad, like someone did something to me or I feel oppressed or whatever, but I'm like, I'm not going to be limited by that. And so like if I adopt that whole system and take that whole system on, which I did, which I have, you know, that's still all baked into it. So I'm like, shit, man, like I think even yoga is kind of like compromised in a way for me to be moving from a pure, honest place inside myself. And that's hard because it was the thing that I relied on. Like I really relied on it. And that's another thing. Anytime we're giving our power away and forget, which we have, that source is inside of us. All of creation is inside. the power of everything is inside of us. And that's what they keep saying. And it's hard to wrap your mind around how to do that. Because I'm like, well, if it's inside me, can you tell them to pay the bills? I mean, it's just like, what does that even mean? How do we do this? But it is like, I do try to just go inside and check in with myself. But anyway, I was kind of having a thing last night with yoga where it's just like, I think I kind of have to unhook from even that system right now. And it's like, you know, this feeling of free falling, but a deepening at the same time into my own confidence and my own power and my own trust and faith, you know, that we are getting on the other side of something really complicated, heavy, dark, and comprehensive. Like, it's like all of it. So I'm like, okay, like each layer that comes off, I'm like, where does that leave me? How do I do things now? How do I move in the world? How do I pull together the resources I need? How do I do it? How do I do it? And these are just the questions, you know. I've had to get very comfortable in the not knowing and the mystery and just go in the void, go in the darkness and trust. So that's what I'm doing. You know, after, of course, last week, like completely like spinning out, running off in a million directions, trying this, trying that, giving myself an injury. Like, it was just, you know, we run ourselves around and around and around. And then finally, hopefully we can be like, okay, seriously, how are we going to do this? So that's all I wanted to say. Just giving you guys an example of, you know, how things are playing out for me right now. Not watching any news, not on social media, not on Amazon. You know, I'm really just on YouTube right now, and I see plenty there, and I do not put myself on a high horse about it because it's still a demon technology. And I just want to remind you guys that each time I've gotten off of one of these apps, I've had like a physical detoxing that happens. So like literally as if like demonic energy is leaving my body. So like just, I mean, that's how I feel about it. And so I recognize that I even still have some of these hooks still in, and that I'm still participating in them. And, you know, eventually I think they're all going to have to go. I don't know what's going to replace them. I hope better, more fun things. And you know, and the best thing that I can think to do right now is really just pull out of the overculture, stop giving them my money, and just find workarounds. And even when it's inconvenient, the price of freedom is inconvenience. And that's just been my experience. And really inconvenience is a rerouting opportunity. You know, it's like, it's a way to get to the same place. So that's what I wanted to say to y'all. I really hope that you guys are coming to my show. I'm actually like very curious and excited to see what's gonna happen. Like I said, it's thrilling, it's exhilarating. I'm like, whoo! I'm like, the pressure's on, and you know, I like, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. You know, I'm in the kitchen, y'all, and I like it. So I'm gonna keep going. More soon. Take care out there, okay? Mwah.